What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian from House of Wrestling, and this is my review for the December 28th episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Yes, this was New Year's Eve Smash, the last AEW Dynamite for 2022. Man, it's been a wild ride for AEW in 2022. You start off with the infamous Tony Khan tweet in New Year's Day. You had Kenny Omega going into the year injured. You had the Jon Moxley going to rehab. You had Cody Rhodes going to WWE. You had the Ring of Honor purchase from Tony Khan. You had the backstage issues going on. You had the MJF walkout at Double or Nothing weekend. You had the I'm trying to think of what else was there that happened. You had all the injuries from CM Punk, Hangman Page. Oh my God, who else? Andrade. You just had a plethora of injuries this year. Then, of course, you had, unfortunately, the Brawl Out. Then you had the reportedly Andrade, Sammy Guevara thing going on. Man, it's been a wild ride for AEW. But man, tonight's show, this was a fun crowd. That Denver crowd is so damn fun. And good kudos to AEW. The last month since Full Gear has just been a lot of enthusiasm. They've done a really good job of just maintaining that enthusiasm coming out of Full Gear. And you see it reflect through the show. Tonight's episode, it wasn't the deepest episode as far as just the plethora of talent that AEW has on their roster, but they did their job. Some things I didn't care too much for, but other than that, this was a really good show to end 2022 for AEW. And of course, there's a lot of anticipation for January 4th episode of Dynamite, and is specifically that January 11th episode from Los Angeles. It feels like in another world you would have the shows switch where you would start off in LA and then go to Seattle, but we'll see how this plays out. But enough of me talking about how the show was. Let's go into what I liked about the show. But before I do that, I'm going to give you guys the results like I always do. We had Bryan Danielson. He defeated Ethan Page. You had Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley defeat Top Flight. You had Hook defeat Balaam Lennox. You had The Elite defeat Death Triangle. You had Ty Mello and Ajay defeat Ruby Soho and Willow Nightingale. And in the main event, you had Samoa Joe defeat Wardlow. So, that is the results for the December 28th episode of AEW Dynamite. Man, let's get into this first match. Bryan Danielson, Ethan Page. I like this match. It was fun. I am glad that they're starting to utilize Ethan Page more. I'm glad that he's no longer attached to America's Top Team. It really felt like when they put him with that group, it brought him down, and more so when they put him with Dan Lambert, it just brought him down. But now you're starting to see him showcase more. Man, I love the duo of Ethan Page and Stokely Hathaway. Love that Stokely Hathaway got involved in this match in certain moments. But man, Bryan Danielson, Ethan Page, man, this was a solid match. Of course, when the match started, both men are in the ring. MJF's music hits. He's in a suite with a beautiful woman next to him, and he's just very pompous and arrogant. And of course, he's throwing shots at Bryan Danielson, and then you have Bryan Danielson and Ethan Page. They're calling him out. So, I don't know. In a weird way, it feels like we might be getting what's the firm's involvement with MJF. Does feel like that. Of course, some people think that it could be that MJF and the firm are coming back together. Others think, and this actually makes a lot more sense, that MJF uses the firm to his convenience. Doesn't necessarily mean they're a faction with MJF, but it's more pay to play. Hey, I need your services. Here, I'll pay you. So I believe that's the way to go, and that makes sense. And I could see this leading to an eventual face turn for Ethan Page, where he kind of like gets tired of getting paid to help MJF, and it's like, hey, you know what? I want your title. So I believe that could be something that's in the works down the line. But man, this match, I enjoyed it. I love the Psycho Knee by Bryan Danielson. I love the Danielson stomps that Danielson and pretty much every member in the Blackpool Combat Club does. To finish the match, Danielson had the Regal stretch. Ethan Page tapped out. Danielson, he points at MJF Sweet, and you got the whole yes, yes, yes thing. Solid match to open up the Dynamite show. Really, like I said, AEW has done a really good job of having solid solid matches opening up the show that just kicks it off, and then they get into this gear, and it just keeps building and building and building. Again, I'm really looking forward to how the January 4th episode of AEW Dynamite is, and especially that January 11th episode. Really looking forward to those two episodes. So from there, we get a video package of Samoa Joe. He's telling him, he's like, I'm a hunter. And man, I love Samoa Joe as a heel. I love what they're doing with him. And it's something about him being a heel where he's complimentary, but it's very condescending and subtly like devious, where it's like, oh man, he's like, you want to, take your guard down, and then he just attacks you, and he proved that later on. I'll get into that a little bit later, but yeah, he's basically mocking Wardlow in this video. And then we get a backstage segment or interview with Wardlow with Renee Paquette. And before he could say anything, Samoa Joe hits him in the knee with a pipe. So that adds to the main event, which I do believe, the way this played out, I believe this quite possibly could be one of the first times that AEW has done something at the beginning of the show that reflected or ended up being brought back at the end of the show. Maybe the first episode when Moxley put Omega through the glass table. Maybe, I don't know, but I do think this is the first time that in an AEW storyline where something that happened early in the show came back and was a major factor to the end of the show. Usually it's boom boom and that's it, but man, that was really, really interesting. I really like that because after that happened, like, yeah, wow, the main event, like, it was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. That's the way I say it. Maybe they announced the main event a little bit earlier during the Danielson match. Maybe I missed it. Forgive me. Comment below, guys, what you guys think. But man, I thought that was pretty cool that they've done. And maybe that's a foreshadowing of something they might do in 2023. Very interesting. So yeah, after the Wardlow Renee Paquette interview, you get a backstage. We go to commercial. We come back and you have a backstage segment with Hangman Page with a medical update. And Hangman's like, it's week to week. It's been over 2 months. And then the doctor tells Hangman Page, if you stop getting involved and, you just take it easy, you could be back in 2 weeks. And interesting, in 2 weeks is the Los Angeles show. So you have Hangman Page possibly returning. You have match 7 of the Lucha Brothers and the Elite. You have you're going to have the mystery partner for Saraya against Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. So that's going to be interesting how this plays out. That's going to be a stacked show. And mind you, that's crazy. It's the second show of in 2023. 2023 is going to be a really good year for professional wrestling. Trust me, after the news that broke after Dynamite, and it's not particularly AEW, but more pro wrestling and WWE, Dragon Lee's headed to WWE. So looking forward to 2023 as a wrestling fan, man. It's going to be fun. So yeah, Hangman Page could be back in 2 weeks. So we'll see. Then we get Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley versus Top Flight. This match I thought was really cool and fun. I'm noticing that Jon Moxley and Hangman Page are, I don't want to say they're slowly turning heel, but they're getting more aggressive and punctual and no nonsense in their verbiage and even their mannerisms and their matches. Like, they're really just no nonsense. And maybe that's something that could be taken as, oh, it could be a slow heel turn, or maybe it's just they're just being no nonsense and very more aggressive. And this match was fun. There were some spots where you can tell that Darius is slowly getting his rhythm back. His brother Dante, he's flying off over the ring, but you could tell Darius is slowly getting back in the ring, getting this speed back. But this was a pretty solid match. I like the counters between Top Flight, Cesaro uppercut. Man, there was just a lot of cool spots that Dante and Darius were working and countering and stuff like that I really enjoyed. The DDT by Darius. Then of course you got the double suplex by Claudio on both Top Flight members. The freaking Spanish fly that Darius did on Claudio was amazing. The neutralizer by Claudio, and then the kickouts. Then you had, this is an interesting point in this match, and this is where it goes back to what I was saying as far as, Moxley and Claudio being very aggressive and no nonsense. Claudio started arguing with the referee. So, I don't know. I think that's something to really think about. Like, could we be seeing the little seeds planted for an eventual heel turn of Moxley, Claudio, and possibly Wheeler Yuta? I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But the way this match ended, Moxley, he DDT'd Dante on the outside. And these guys towards the end, Moxley and Claudio, they were just beating the hell out of them. And Claudio wound up doing a champagne shot, pin, 1, 2, 3, they win. Yeah, there were moments in this match that were pretty clunky. That I was just like, And of course, you got Darius getting back to speed. I think with Top Flight, of course, a lot of their presentation is agility and speed and everything. But with Darius and his injury, it's weird because I could see a lot of similarities between Top Flight and the Hardys, where Dante's more the risk taker and Darius is more like Matt Hardy. And I think he should go more the brawling tactic and just, let his brother be the speed and he be more the power. I don't know. I think that's something they should do. We'll see how that implements, because, of course, like I said, Darius is getting back into speed. He just returned, so you could see that he's getting back into speed. And I don't know. I think that different contrast and just presentation with Darius being more power and technical, and that would be pretty interesting dynamic to just bring something different with Top Flight. Because, of course, before the injury, Darius and Dante, man, they were flying. But you can tell the difference between Dante and Darius in the ring, where it's just like, okay, one's more slower than the other, and it's just like, okay, they're at the same speed, but it's like they're not. It's just like, oh man, it's like, all right, man, I just want to see them just have killer matches. From there, we get a recap of Kip Sabian and the best friends. Backstage, Renee Paquette's with Kip Sabian and the best friends. And Kip Sabian's pretty much alluding to him challenging Orange Cassidy for the All Atlantic title. And before he could pretty much issue that challenge, Orange Cassidy's like, no, you're not challenging for it. I'm wrestling Trent on Rampage. Okay. And Kip Sabian walks away. I'm really interested to see where is this heading to. I really like Kip Sabian's presentation. I do think he has the potential to be a very top heel in AEW if you put him with the right people behind him. He's got some stuff behind him that is just like, he's got his look. I love his look. His look is amazing. And it's just like, man, he's got something. He just needs those guys around him. Or maybe he has them when Butcher and Blade. They just need more depth to their presentation. And it's just like, okay, this is interesting. So yeah, we're getting Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta on Rampage. We go to Hook versus Balaam Lennox. Basically, it was two moves: an overhead suplex and a red rum. That was it. That was the match. But after the match is where everything picked up. So you had Stokely Hathaway with Lee Moriarty and Big Bill. They come down at ringside. And before they could approach Hook, more so Lee Moriarty and Stokely, Jungle Boy's music hits. He attacks Lee Moriarty. And we cut to the ring, and you have this face-off between Big Bill and Hook. Big Bill's here. Hook's right here. And you just see the contrast and everything. That was really cool. Fun visual. And, of course, you had Hook attempt to do a overhead suplex. Couldn't. Big Bill tried to choke slam him. Had him up in a choke slam. And Jungle Boy comes in with a 2x4. Hits Big Bill. They run out. And you have Jungle Boy and Hook. I like that tandem. I really like that tandem. You got two of your young top talent in a team. They're over with the crowd. That's fun. And I hope I don't want to say pick up where this is going, but kind of need to see more where this is going. I know they're telling the story. I don't feel they're dragging on it, but it's more, okay, let's add a little bit more to this as we go on this journey where eventually we're going to get Jungle Boy and Hook versus Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. So let's just add a little things here and there to just spice it up. That's all I'm asking for. Just spice up where this is going. So from there, we have a video of the Ocho, Chris Jericho, and he's basically saying Action Andretti is a flash in the pan. He calls Ricky Starks very talented, but he doesn't have the tools. He tells Action Andretti go back to the Indies, and he tells Ricky Starks in Seattle there's going to be a small price you're going to pay for not joining JAS, and I'm going to embarrass you. So basically that was it. Of course, it's Jericho versus Ricky Starks in Seattle for the first Rampage Dynamite and the new look AEW Dynamite, which I really like that look. I'm really interested to see how that stage looks, but we'll see. But Jericho versus Ricky Starks should be a decent match, although I would like someone else in that spot. But for now, Jericho, you could tell Jericho going into 2023, he's kind of taking the, I don't want to say Nick Bockwinkel, maybe, but more so of the veteran, like, hey, I'm going to be that annoying heel that's been around for a long time that you want to see get beat up. You can kind of see him taking that approach. Even though I'm annoyed by that damn Judas song already. Like, I'm tired of that song already. I wish he got a new song, but, of course, it gets one of the loudest reactions in the arena. It is what it is, so. But, yeah, that's going to be a pretty fun match. Then we get a recap of Swerve and Keith Lee and their split. And we get a backstage interview with the Mogul affiliates. I believe it was with Tony Schiavone and Swerve. He's introducing them. I'm glad that Parker Bordeaux refrained from doing his usual mannerisms of after he does something, he grabbed his chain and just went like this. And hopefully they told him, like, you don't need those mannerisms. You're a freaking big, intimidating dude with a bunch of tattoos. All you have to do is just stare and look at somebody. You don't need those mannerisms. And I hope he does not do those mannerisms ever again, because they look like something out of a created wrestler community creations you would see on 2K. Like, that's something you give your created wrestler, those mannerisms. Like, oh, it's pretty cool. Like, no, please don't do that. The other guy, I love his look and I love the way his mannerisms. He's just stoic and just, he's got all these tattoos and he just stands there, and it's like, that's what they should do. Like, you're two big, was it almost 6'10" white dudes with tattoos and jacked up. Like, you don't need any mannerisms. Just stand there. Like, you see them. Like, yeah, they're some badasses. Like, they want to beat some people up. Like, you just look at that. So, but man, interesting with this. Yeah, will you interrupt Swerve Strickland? So we're getting Yuta versus Swerve Strickland on Rampage. That should be a really good match, and it should be. Could we see Keith Lee come back and get a vengeance? Get some retribution on Swerve Strickland? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting how that match plays out. I haven't read these spoilers yet. Yes, I'm one of those people that I love reading spoilers, but also I still need to see it, because sometimes the spoilers will just give you information and it's like, all right, it's very generic. I still need to see how this played out. I'm just one of those people. I don't mind it. I still need to see how it played out. Now we get to the Elite versus Death Triangle, and I have to say, I have enjoyed this whole match series between the Elite and Death Triangle. There is a definite chemistry between the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. There's a chemistry between Pac and Kenny Omega. Kudos to those guys for making each match feel different and unique. And man, they have done some stuff in these matches that I'm just like, wow. Of course, you got Omega Snap suplex. You got Pac's 450. You got the cutters and everything. But it's how they're doing them and how everything's coming about that's just like, wow. And it's fun to watch because there are stakes. And I think that's something that, granted, I can understand why most folks may not like this. It's like, oh, it's the same guys. We've seen them already. That's understandable. I get that. Like, I get that, the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros, they fought at Double or Nothing in 2019. So it's like they've been feuding for 3 years. So I can understand it. For me, I enjoy it. It's just different. I enjoy wrestlers that if they got chemistry and they can go in the ring, I enjoy it. Same thing with the Usos and New Day. They've wrestled 1,000 times, but guess what? Like, part of me is like, okay, man, can we get something else? But then part of me, when the match goes on, it's like, hey, these guys got chemistry. Like, it works. Of course, it works because you've worked so many times, but it's not a knock on anything. It's just when you got two teams that have chemistry, it permeates from the arena into the TV screen. And you're just like, wow, let me just watch this. But, this match, I liked how the match started with Excalibur, Taz, and Tony Schiavone. They were talking, then they just cut to the back and the match just starts. I really like that. It was just like, oh, wow, this is different. And, the dive that Pac did on the Young Bucks, the moonsault by Nick Jackson. I hope his elbow's okay, because the way he landed was just like, Ooh, nasty stinger. Then you had the tornado spin from Ray Phoenix on the stage. The V trigger by Omega on the stage. Oh, damn, man. Kenny Omega, man. Please don't hurt yourself so much that when you go face Osprey at Wrestle Kingdom, can you come back in one piece for the ladder match? And with the ladder match, can you guys please not kill yourselves? Because we want to see more of the Young Bucks, the Elite, um, Death Triangle, and Pac later on this year. Like, we want to see the Elite versus House of Black. That's what we want to see. Then, after the V trigger by Kenny Omega, later on in the match, you had a Northern Light suplex down the ramp by Matt Jackson. I thought that was really cool. Then you had Penta and Nick fighting in the crowd. You had freaking garbage cans, and you just had weapons and stuff like that. You had a loud Zero Metal chants. You had a V trigger in a trash can, which was on, was it Pac? Yeah, was it Pac? You had a V trigger. You had a lot of moves. You had the Doctor Bomb kick out. You had Ray Phoenix doing a cutter and a dive through the ropes, which, man, that sequence, please watch this match over. That was a sweet dive. Then you had a point in the match where Nick's accidentally super kicked Matt Jackson, which is like, uh-oh. Like, are we really gonna, like, they, for that couple seconds, just like, wait a minute, maybe Death Triangle's gonna win and we're not gonna get a, whoa, like, maybe we're not gonna get a match 7. Like, okay. From there, you had, after that, you had Omega hit a one-wing angel on a table. It was more by the stage because you had all 6 men in like 3 different places. And the way that happened, I thought it was pretty cool because it adds a little controversy to the ending because you had Pac in a regal stretch. You had Pac had Matt Jackson in a regal stretch, and you had Omega with, I believe it was Penta. Yeah, I believe it was Penta. He did the one-wing angel on the table. So as the ref counts 3 for Kenny Omega doing a V-trigger, Pac still has Matt Jackson the regal stretch, and then that ref rings it, but then they, of course, with the cameras and everything, like, no, Kenny Omega got the pin before the tap out. So that's how it ended. So that's pretty cool because now going into match 7, there's like a lot of stakes, and there should be some decent promos from both teams. Like, hey, Death Triangle's be like, hey, we won this match. You tapped out, and Kenny Omega's, no, we pinned you guys before the tap out. It's like, no, that's not how it is. So match 7, ladder match in Los Angeles, January 11th, Dynamite. That is going to be a big, big show. So from there, we get a video from the Acclaim. Holy crap. You need to watch this freaking video. This is one of the funniest, and I have to say, I honestly believe this video that the Acclaim did tops their video of Darby Allin and Sting. Like, this, man, there were so many lines that they mentioned Global Force 2004, King of the Mountain, and probably the line of the video. And this is what Max said to Jeff Jarrett. Stealing money like it's Kurt Angle's wife. Damn. Like, wow. Like, that was a line. And unfortunately, on Twitter, Kurt Angle responded. And he mentions, I can't wait for you. I believe it was paraphrased, but I can't wait for you to say that to her face. So apparently we might be getting Karen Jarrett on AEW television. I don't know how I feel about this. Honestly, they should just put Chris Jericho and Jeff Jarrett together. Have it as the veterans that believe they're bigger than the industry. And mind you, I mentioned that in storyline mode. I don't think it's like that's. I understand it's story mode. Like, I'm not one of these people there. no, it's real. They're bad. Like, no, I got a sense of freaking reality. I think they should do that. They should put Jeff Jarrett and Chris Jericho together because basically they're doing the same thing. If you really look at it, Jeff Jarrett and Chris Jericho are doing the same thing. They should put them together as a tag team. And actually, that would make sense because you had Ricky Starks and the Acclaim. Hey, that actually would work. I like that. So yeah, apparently we're going to might possibly get that, but man, that line still in money like it's Kurt Angle's wife. Man, please watch that video of Max Caster and the Acclaim. That man, that was so good. That was a funny video. From there, we get the match between Ty Mello, Anna Jay versus Willow Nightingale and Ruby Soho. This match, man, this is, how do I put this? And this isn't to knock them or anything. It's just you notice the difference in aggression, intensity, feistiness, the physicality. That there's a big difference from what you see from Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida, Toni Storm, Athena, even Jade Cargill, Red Velvet. You see the difference, and it's a big difference from that to what Ty Mello, Anna Jay, Ruby Soho, and like Willow Nightingale's in the middle because it's like certain matches when she's worked with the women wrestlers that I mentioned beforehand, like Toni Storm's, like the physicality's that's what I'm trying to say. Like there's a gap in the physicality, the aggression, the intensity, the presentation as far as the stakes. Like with Britt Baker, Toni Storm, even Saraya, Shida, Hayter, Jade Cargill, Red Velvet. There's a higher level of intensity and aggression and physicality from those women's wrestlers to Ruby Soho, Ty Mello, Anna Jay. And Willow's like in the middle, but there's like, you see the difference. And there was certain moments where it's like, oh man, it's really physical. And then there was other moments just like, okay, like, it's like, all right. Honestly, Willow Nightingale should be undefeated in AEW. Like, she should not be losing these matches. That's how I feel that she should be presented. But yeah, this match, I mean, it was a decent match, but yeah, there were moments in this match where it's just like, I don't know, man, is that there's that, like I said, man, there's that level that, you know, from everything that we're seeing with the last few women's matches on Dynamite, like it's a difference. You notice the difference. Like you notice it. I don't know. We'll see how this plays out and where this goes. But yeah, I honestly feel this match should have been on Rampage. Because I know we had Jade Cargill and Kiera Hogan on Rampage this Friday. I believe those matches should have been switched, and we should have had Jade Cargill and Kiera Hogan on Dynamite. I don't know, maybe that match is going to be a quick match, but yeah, I would have preferred that because, yeah, you're starting to see the difference from the physicality. And of course, in a couple of months, we'll probably get Chris Statlander coming back. Maybe Layla Hirsch, because I know she's been out for a while, and I believe that was towards the end of April. So she might be coming back. There may be some other women wrestlers that might be added to the roster. And of course, the big one for January 11th. We could be seeing the debut of one Mercedes Moné, a.k.a. Sasha Banks. So that still remains to be seen. So I don't know. Like I said, man, this match was very interesting. Of course, this match, the ending was it was just, I don't know. So Anna Jay, she grabs a chair. Aubrey Edwards prevents her from using the chair, but then in the background you could see Ty Mello get a chair. She throws. I think it's more so the execution of a lot of things in this match that is just, it wasn't fluid. It was just like it was very clunky. It wasn't do 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 do. It was just very clunky, and then the execution of the chair shot, and I did like the DDT that Ty Mello did on Ruby Soho. Like, damn, that was that was nasty. But it does, like, it's crazy to think because Ty Mello and Anna Jay, this time last year, they were in a crazy hardcore match at Daly's place. So I think it's for them being in JAS. Like, I think they need to just get them out of there. They need to put Sammy and Ty something else, and they need to put Anna Jay with Jungle Boy. I believe they're still an item in real life. I think they need to put them together there. And like, Anna Jay had a physicality and just aggression before she joined JAS, and it just seems like ever since she's joined JAS, like, she's lost that edge. And same for Ty Mello. It's like they lost that edge that they had, and it's like, man, if we can get Anna Jay and Ty Mello back to having that edge that they had last year with the progression that's happening with the women's division, man, that's going to be good, especially including Ruby Soho. Just that aggression. Maybe Ruby Soho needs to turn heel. I don't know. But there is that edge and aggression that, man, if those women can recapture that, man, that'd be good. But yeah, this match, I mean, it was okay. I'm not going to say, oh my God, it was the worst. Like, no, it wasn't worse. It was just the overall, everything that they wanted to do in the match made sense. It was just how it was executed. That was just dun, 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 and not do like that. That's what I mean by fluidity. When a wrestling match, alert. Side note, for me, after watching wrestling for so many years, a wrestling match is almost like dancing. There's a rhythm. Boom, 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 boom. Not boom, 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 boom. Any form of music, there is a rhythm, there's a pacing and stuff like that. And the same thing goes for wrestling. And a lot of times, the pacing might be off, and it might be just too slow, and it needs to be in line. That's just my thinking. Then we get a backstage segment with the Gun Club. They're leaving. They're like, we got somewhere to go. I don't know why this segment was on Dynamite. Like, it makes no sense. Like, they didn't do anything before the show. They didn't do anything during the show. Like, I don't know why this segment was on Dynamite. Like, I don't know. Yeah, they're arrogant heels, but like, it made no sense. Like, that was one of the segments, like, you really didn't need this. Like, you didn't need it. Then we get a backstage segment with Ricky Starks, and he's talking about next week. And, oh man, I love this line he told Jericho. He's like, I'm a star you can't control. And then he tells Jericho, I'm going to take you to a master class of where I'm going to whoop your ass. Like that. So he's building up his match with him and Chris Jericho. I do think Ricky Starks is going to win this match. I do also think that next week, with it being in Seattle, it's going to be a big emphasis on Bryan Danielson, which that should be fun. A lot of yes chants. Maybe he gets his comeuppance on MJF in Seattle. Maybe. Then we get to the main event. Of course, Samoa Joe. He comes out, and whatever's happening to Wardlow, he comes out limping, and we get the match started. There's chance of Joe's going to kill you. He executes a spine buster. There were moments in the match where you can kind of see, like, he, for a split second, like, oh wait, I gotta sell the right leg. So he sold it and everything, and then he did a moonsault, which was crazy, and then he landed awkward on the left leg. It's like, oh man, please, like, just no, like, please don't injure yourself, Wardlow. Like, we just want to see this go very well. Then you had Samoa Joe. He was working his knees during the match. Then you had Wardlow do a moonsault later on in the match. He did a headbutt and a lariat. Samoa Joe kicked out. Then you had the power bomb by Wardlow. Then you had a chop block, and then you had a sleeper hold on Samoa Joe, which he won. One of the things I didn't like about the ending, the sleeper match, as Samoa Joe had the sleeper hold. I wish the refs would do the raise the arm, boom, raise the arm, boom, then raise the arm and boom, or let it drop. They didn't do that. Like, he just called the match and was like, what? Like, man, just raise the arm. Like, what is he doing? But hey, it is what it is. That's how they do it. Post-match, Joe, he starts attacking Wardlow. What led to him attacking Wardlow, he grabbed the belts and he's looking at Wardlow. And man, Samoa Joe is so damn good as a deceptive heel that makes you you lower your guard and you're like, oh man, he's going to do the honorable thing. And then this guy's so good. So he makes his appear like, oh, he lets his guard down and he starts beating up Wardlow. He goes underneath the ring, he grabs a toolbox, starts pulling things out, and he grabs some scissors. And it's like, is he going to cut Wardlow's hair? And it's like, nah, he's not going to cut his hair because someone's going to come out. And of course, you could tell someone's coming out because as they were showing the shot of Wardlow, you could see the cameraman by the ramp holding the camera facing the entrance ramp. So it's like, okay, somebody's coming out really soon. And lo and behold, Samoa Joe wind up cutting Wardlow's hair. Very interesting. And after he does that, music hits. You got Darby Allin coming out, which I kind of anticipate. I'm like, I remember Darby Allin made a promo about Samoa Joe. I believe it was last week or the week before. Dynamite or Rampage. I can't remember, but I know it was recent. And he comes out. Joe's looking at the entrance ramp. Darby's not coming out. He comes behind through the crowd, hits him with the skateboard. Joe leaves out. Final shots are Joe and Darby screaming at each other. So, hey, 2023, we're going to get Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe. That should be a fun match. And let me tell you, I'm enjoying Samoa Joe's promos. Him as a heel, man. This is golden. Man, AEW, man, never cease to fail as far as having great talkers talk. And I believe that's one of the good things that's gotten them through this year. So I'm looking forward to that Samoa Joe Darby Allin match. But overall, man, this was a pretty fun episode. You could tell that they were somewhat withholding some things back. And I'm not talking about secrets and, who's Soraya's partner or anything. You could tell a lot of storylines they withheld. And we'll see what happens on Rampage this Friday, December 30th, before New Year's Eve. So we'll see what happens with that. But man, I'm really excited and enthusiastic as far as 2023 with AEW. Man, a lot of intriguing stuff. And man, it's going to be a fun month. Mind you, this is just AEW. Haven't gotten into my review of SmackDown I'm going to do on Friday and how that's going to play out because we got the Royal Rumble and Impact Wrestling. Then we got Wrestle Kingdom because, of course, the match 7 of Death Triangle and Elite is going to be January 11th, not January 4th, because Kenny Omega is going to be wrestling Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom 17. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And man, pro wrestling in 2033, man, it's going to be beautiful. Man, overall, like I said, I enjoyed this match. The Elite, Death Triangle, man, these guys have done an amazing job at making each match feel different. Granted, some people may not care for it. I get it. But for me, I really give them kudos to doing that and attempting that, because man, that is very difficult to do, to keep the matches fresh. And I like that as the matches went on, the stipulations changed, and it went from just a straight wrestling match to now just like just a crazy falls count anywhere. We're going to use weapons and all this other stuff. So it just progressed into this whatever way we can get these titles, we're going to get them. And I like that. It's pretty cool. And I'm looking forward to that January 11th episode from Los Angeles. See who Saraya's partner is. But man, overall, like I said, this was a fun show and a good way for AEW to end 2022, considering all the wild and crazy stuff that is happening in AEW. And it's really wild to think of how the show ended and where AEW is going, and the interviews that Tony Khan has conducted in the last several weeks. And it's like, damn, AEW went through all that, and yet in a matter of 2 weeks, they could possibly have Sasha Banks debut on Dynamite. That's wild to think. But like I always say, it's professional wrestling. Never say never. Never say never that this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen. Never say never. If the money's right, creative's right, and it advances someone's personal life, never say never. So that is my review for the December 28th episode of AEW Dynamite New Year's Eve Smash, the last episode for AEW Dynamite in 2022. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications so that you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, folks, I'm out.